Hello, how you doing? Gonna do another video on where to live in Tijuana, and I think I got a lot of good information for you. Um, I'm gonna go over where I lived and maybe where you may want to think about living. I'm really bad with the names, so I hope you forgive me here. I have my coffee here. I'm over here in Thailand and have my little pineapple turnover here, and let's just dive right into it. I lived in Playas. I lived in a few places in Tijuana. I started in Rosarito Beach, but I found Playas to be really good for a couple of reasons. One was it's easy access to the border, quick, cheap, usually about 100 pesos. The more people that you kind of get to know, or taxi drivers or whatnot, the more that you'll find that, that it's cheaper, easier, faster. Even the taxis are the route taxis, as they're known, relatively cheap and run very quickly to the border and very close and within walking distance. Um, I found Playas to be relatively good. For that. Uh, let's also talk about some of the areas that are around Playas and close to Playas. One of them is a place called Soler. Soler is a place, a little marketplace, kind of halfway in between. Like I said, I'm not super good. There it is, right here. You'll see the route taxis go through there. Again, it's about halfway to the border. Again, it's pretty easy access. It's going to be cheaper than Playas by a long shot, obviously. But in most cases, Soler is all right. Another place you could look at as Mirador is a place, kind of a up and coming little blue collar place. Over here again, I am very white and so on and so forth. So I'm my experience is going to be a little bit different. If you're Mexican or even considering something like that, you can you can even have, go to some different places. Another place, a place called Cacho, up and coming place, lots of restaurants and really, wonderful places, to kind of eat, hang out. I'm hoping I'll be able to find it here quickly on the map and easily. Maybe, maybe not. But again, it's a place that you may want to look at. That's going to be cheaper, easier. I mean, you could live in Plaza Rio or whatnot, and again, you'll pay quite a bit more to live over there. See, it may even be right in here. Um, 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 um. Okay, so it's not. But basically, Caucho's a kind of up and coming place, kind of a ritzy place, close to the mountains and whatnot. Another place would be Fun Dolores, maybe would be. Of course, I'm blowing the names horribly. I can hear my ex-Mexican girlfriend correcting me. If you cross frequently, a place you may want to look at is Otay. This is a place that's going to allow you some easier crossing times and stuff like that. I'm trying to go over here and catch it. It's over here by the airport. I believe it's right here. But, I would say most of that area around the immediate line is mostly okay. Let's talk a little bit about Rosarito and, that place specifically. That was one of the places I moved to, from the beginning. Um, there's also Baja Malibu, these little areas that are kind of along the coast here. A lot of them have interesting problems. Baja Malibu is a surf community. It's a nice places to live. There's San Antonio up here, which actually has some more inexpensive one bedroom apartments. I'm gonna take a bite of this thing while it's just sitting in my hand. And you can usually rent them for about 400 or 500 bucks. They usually try to get you for more, but they don't go for much more than that because mostly in the wintertime, um, people will leave and stuff like that because it gets rather cold along the border, or sorry, around the ocean, and so people will leave and it gets pretty cold. So another thing here is actually these communities have problems with theft and issues along that line. One of the other things about playas I'll go over real quickly is along the border here, I mean along the ocean right here in the border, you'll find it a little safer to live kind of up here off Ensenada, our road here. And you'll see I have the Don Cortez mark here. It's a really safe and good place to go out of the gate. But I think you'll find most applies to be pretty safe. It's not to say things can't happen to you, but mostly it's a lot of working class, higher end. The police try to throw out the illegals, and they're very tough in the area. The illegals will sleep down on the beach and stuff, so you'll find that there's slightly a little more uptick in crime, around the immediate ocean area, especially the front couple rows. But going down here to Rosarito, I mean, Rosarito is nice and a very hip place. The one thing that you'll immediately find is if you're trying to catch the border, the traffic can be very difficult to get out of, especially if everybody else is trying to get out too. And, really, adds a lot of time to your crossing. If you're not so crossing, sensitive to crossing time and stuff like that, I do actually recommend to go down here towards Popola, a little fishing village and stuff like that. There are some houses and stuff like that you can rent throughout the area, which are quite a bit cheaper. Actually, if you dare to go even further, there are several places around mile marker 58 or K58, K42, which is also surf area, stuff like that. There's different surf areas along along down here. Also, the Mission area. I am less familiar with some of these areas down here until you get to Ensenada. Once you get to Ensenada and whatnot, you'll find that Ensenada's got its own problems and actually pay a lot for being being in the tourist area because the boats will come in and stuff like that. Ensenada is kind of a cool area, but um, my suggestion there would be live south of Ensenada. You'll actually save a little more money there. Um, allow you to take and get some better value for that. Also here up towards the toll station stuff is a surf area. Again, you'll save a little more money because you're not initially in that area. Plus, near this park area, there's a ridge right here. There's some apartments off that you can actually get some pretty good deals if you will walk around and talk to some of the more Mexican landlords and stuff like that. I would never go through like a service like Airbnb or whatnot. And you know, I feel like Ensenada is fun and stuff, but you're talking about 80 miles from the border. There's regular buses that go up from Ensenada to right up to the border, which are also very cheap at about $8 to $12, and those are okay. And actually, they will come down until 2 in the morning. So the transportation is really well, but you'll find that actually if you cruise down here a little more, there's a military base, and then you can actually get some better deals a little more south of this area. So I'm going to take and pause this for a second, and we're going to talk a little more about uh, So we're going to talk a little bit about Mexicali. Now, I spent a little time in Mexicali. Actually, was there for maybe a little over a month, and Mexicali is okay. But I'll tell you, when going there initially, I think you'll find it to be a little bit, excuse me, I think you'll find it to be a little expensive. But once you actually find a place to live in Mexicali, it is quite a bit cheaper. And Calexico and crossing, unless you're crossing on the holidays and stuff like that, you'll find that it's very easy to cross fairly regularly. The traffic is much lower. Actually, even the border area and stuff like that. The things about Mexicali that I found interesting is there's tons of Asian food, which I don't know why, but there's very nice places in Mexicali, and actually, I found the taxi drivers to be a little easier to deal with. I found that the overall experience was very, very cool. Actually, I had one taxi driver that drove me around a lot, and I picked up a lot of friends very easy over there. And depending on what you're looking to get out of your living Mexico experience, I think that you may even want to consider Mexicali. I will say that it is more of a genuine Mexico experience than Tijuana. Tijuana is definitely a border town, and English is spoken more widely, and Mexicali is a more more not so much of the tourist experience. Don't get me wrong, there is quite a bit of hotels and whatnot, but it's not as prevalent as Tijuana. Finding things like that, you'll see that it's not so much uh, you know driven behind the tourism. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that helps you out with a little information on moving to Tijuana or Mexico or Mexicali in general in the border area. If you enjoyed the video and you found information, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask. I appreciate you watching my video.